Years before the nuclear catastrophe, a handful of wealthy men and women grew increasingly worried by the political unrest across their countries. Moral panic, witch hunts, and censorship spread like wildfire. This congregation, scientists, professors, artists, felt the need for a place where history and culture could be preserved, safe from those who would destroy it for its seditious content. They pooled their resources in the hopes of creating such a place, free from the volatile swing of political agenda. A vault was to be built. Within it would be enclosed the most comprehensive collection of books and holotapes in history. The project owed much to the efforts of one Professor Cartwright, who at one time worked for a certain Robert Edwin House at the Robco Company, and used his position to secure valuable contracts within Voltec. As the construction of this library began, the intellectuals gathered their private collections, hunted tirelessly for rare texts to complete them. Cartwright would oversee this process and act as the library's caretaker. When it was time, all would gather for shelter, seal the doors behind them. None of them could predict, however, that the bombs would fall so early, and when they did, Cartwright was alone in the library. The professor knew that his days were numbered. To ensure that the library would not die with him, he spent his time reprogramming his robots. The machines would ensure that the library would persevere until the world could once again take advantage of its wisdom. He would endow them with the ability to think, the ability to choose, the ability to learn. Partly because he feared the dangers that might threaten the library in years to come. Partly because as the years grew long, he needed someone, something to soothe his solitude. 200 years have passed, far enough time for something to go wrong. Today, the courier awakens the library from its long sleep.
Oh, is there somebody out there? What? A radio broadcast? So, there's still people out there fitted with a Pip-Boy, huh? Yes, we are. You're coming from a vault, aren't you? Well, I don't see why we should have this conversation through an intercom. Please, come inside. I fear I must ask you to come in alone, though. We have a strict policy when it comes to our maximum number of guests.
Please move along. If you have any questions, James on the first floor will be happy to answer.
Okay, let's do this right. Greetings, I am James, Rapco Protectron Unit 13882, and personal assistant for Professor Cartwright. How may I help you? This is the library built by the professor in the year 2072. It is one of the most extensive compilations of human knowledge in the world, provided other collections survive, of course. It serves several purposes, from educating the occasional visitor to helping the survivors, building an enlightened society, to remain a beacon of unaltered knowledge of a bygone era, and a safeguard. From historical revisionism, among others, the victor rewrites history. We need to ensure that the record of past events doesn't get scrapped because of fluctuating political contingencies. Of course, I'd be happy to answer. Of course, you're welcome to use our facility. Feel free to ask Roland upstairs for a room in our living quarters. That said, you should know there are some general rules you must observe during your stay here. Treat the facility with respect. As long as your actions do not threaten our collection, no harm should come to you. Sorry, I know I just dumped that on you like some kind of threat, but it really isn't. We just want your stay here to be as comfortable as possible. I'm just supposed to give all our guests a basic rundown of our rules. You know, rules and regulations. That kind of thing. We received a fair share of guests in the past, but the last few years, not so much. It seems the Night Stalkers are roaming around, dissuading most travelers from exploring the area. I'd rather not, at least not for now. I'm all ears. Ask away. Well, you should ask Roland for any kind of misplaced books, I fear. He usually loiters around in the lounge on the second floor. Back when titles were still relevant, he was a professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Chief Science Officer of Rapco. His domain of expertise, as you surely guessed, artificial intelligence. Correct. I'm not surprised he still is alive today. When our master told us about him, he was described as quite the resourceful individual. Yes, but I don't know the details. Our master wasn't very much inclined to talk about his former CEO, for some reason. A well-planned intersection of resources, contacts, and wealth. Of course, being in close relation with Vault-Tec's brass also played in his success. Let's proceed. Machines, you mean? Quite a number, I must say. But I imagine you're asking how many of us are gifted with a personality module. A handful. There's me, Helena in the clinic upstairs, Roland in the lounge, and there's also Arthur in the computer room. Each of us has a specific responsibility. Helena has the final word when it comes to our guest's health. Roland takes care of logistics and Arthur is our database. Everything in between or about the library in general falls upon me. Good preparation, I guess. We have enough resources to sustain ourselves. We produce our own energy, recycle most of our scrap. Our Mr. Handy units go outside and scavenge when needed, and keep both the facility and us Protectrons in top condition. Yes. Besides reading, on the first level you'll find the movie theater, the reading room, the laundry, the borrowing service, and the computer room. Not that much on this one, except our database, Arthur, and he's not very responsive. On the second floor there's a living quarters, the lounge where you'll find Roland, the cafeteria, Helena's infirmary, and the classroom. Why do we have a classroom? Don't hesitate to ask Roland for a room. Wait. Now that the rules and regulations are taken care of, can I ask you a question? I heard that the outside world is violent. Seeing you carry these weapons around, I assume you can take care of yourself out there. You already killed someone, didn't you? How did it feel? That's what I think too. It's a sad event, no matter the circumstances. I'm glad you said that. You seem like a nice person. I will be expecting our next conversation. In the meantime, please make yourself comfortable in our library. So, how may I help you? Yes, he hasn't been answering for a century now. I may be overextending my judgment on this, but I think he's dead. Back when titles were still relevant, he was a professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and chief science officer of ROPCO. His domain of expertise, as you surely guessed, artificial intelligence. All that we know is that one day we found him in this position, under a pile of books. He hasn't moved ever since. As for now, we theorize that he tripped and tried to catch something to stop his fall. The bookshelf came down with him. A grave for robots outside? I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. We can't go out. The maintenance bot is able to, but only rarely, and only to conduct checks and repairs on the exterior. Because of that protocol of ours, we must protect the library, and it involves that we stay here. Why not? He liked it there. Yes, subject dropped. See you around. Let's talk about the outside world next time.
Oh, terrific! Daddy's boy let another bum in the door. Well, welcome to Library de Roland. Don't steal any of my shit, okay? Looks like you can't read anyways, so I probably don't have much to worry about. Prim who now? Oh, we all look the same to you. Is that it, you racist motherfucker? Yeah, I thought so. Well, we look more different than Asians, at least. Uh-oh. I didn't say that. Look, you just mind your own goddamn business and go back to inhaling all the oxygen and jerking off to whatever you filthy animals do, okay? Oh, right, that's me, alright. The go-to guy for the special books right here. Good old Roland. Oh, I don't know. It's a goddamn library. Why don't you look around, asshole? You know, believe it or not, I used to actually care about this place. Oh yeah. It was my sole purpose in this existence after all. So, when I see a bunch of reckless Neanderthals utilizing these books for the most distasteful of purposes, as well as wearing them out before any future generations can enjoy them, I decided it was best to put them away for safekeeping. Sue me. Huh? Oh, well. When did you take an interest in the interpersonal politics of a bunch of soulless machines, huh? You know, this is a classy establishment, not a homeless shelter for ugly, radioactive, pushy dipshits. But so be it. This is what our beloved master wanted, so I shall oblige. Here's the key to your special discount suite. I have no doubt you will feel right at home there. Oh yeah.
And with Knight Erickson on top of that. But I have good hope. I will find something actually useful down here. Finding this place is just my luck, and the perfect opportunity to shine.
So, are you getting comfortable in the library? I was wondering perhaps you could help me with something. Some years ago, 2 people came here. The first one wore some kind of purple robes. The second had heavy armor, military. From what I could gather, they were on some kind of scouting mission. The robed one, Dexter, really did extensive research, consulted a great deal of books, but never told me what he was looking for exactly. As to whether they found something, I can't say. They stayed for 3 weeks and they were just gone. I would like you to see if you can find anything out about them. They left in such a hurry that I had no time to ask what they intended to do with their knowledge of this place. Maybe they forgot something. They did not even tell me if they learned something useful. Because they did. Dexter liked to record his observations at the first opportunity. It is something we strongly encourage our guests to do. And to share with us for survey reasons. We didn't expect that he would record so many, though. Worst thing is, he left them scattered all over the place. No, wait. The real worst thing was that there wasn't any relevant information on these. Roland should know which room those 2 were occupying. There might be something there. A note, or a recording on what they thought about this place. Good. Come back when you've found something. What? Of course not. Personality modules were hard enough to come by, not to be wasted on some kind of terminal. It took months for our master to manufacture each one of those. See you around.
Do you need a hand or something? You know, you're lucky I don't have 6 fingers, or I'd give you 4 middle fingers instead of just 1. It's nothing personal. You're just ugly, that's all. And I can smell your sphincter. Well, it's not my fault. I had abusive parents and they, used to hit me. Yeah, exactly. What is the deal about them? Yes? No. No. Huh? What was that? My hearing's getting a little fuzzy in my old try again? No. Alright. Wait, forget what now? Why don't I? Because James has to learn how to let it go, buddy. Get busy living or get busy dying is one of my favorite movies used to say. You know, movies. Ugh, never mind. Oh, I have plenty to say, just not about that. A dump! That's our executive suite! I'm sorry you're not pleased with the accommodations. Well, alright, buddy. I've been clearly outplayed. You go use your crude little lock-picking device, human, and see what it gets you. I'm shocked. Shocked! You, of all people, are a quitter. Come back soon.
One thing is for sure. We are leaving tomorrow. Our stay here has been utterly pointless, and Knight Roger hasn't been the most helpful auxiliary. It is rather safe to say that his main preoccupations were playing the pool table and stuffing himself with pre-war food.
Oh, recipe books on cooking radioactive dirt? I'm sorry, but they're all out at the moment. Come back soon. You again. You know, I should thank you. Somehow you've made me transcend my codebase and wish I had a stomach full of half-digested food and acid so I could violently spill it out onto the floor. Weird. Come back soon.
I can't believe this toaster has the nerve to deny us access to the living quarters on the sole ground that Roger lost both of our keys. We tried to sleep in the movie theater, but Erickson has grown so disgustingly fat from his constant binge eating that he snores when he sleeps. Even after I kicked him onto the ground. So I left him there and tried to sleep on the couch in the lounge. But as soon as I fell asleep, that toaster, Roland, began to walk across the room, singing this stupid song praising his useless spurs, the dingle-dangle or whatever the hell they do. So here I am, crawling under a desk in the classroom, trying to set a makeshift bed for me to cry myself to sleep. Yet, I'm wide awake, and trying to calm the down by recounting these events on a holotape. As you can hear, it works perfectly!
Welcome. How may I help you? I will help you as much as I can, as long as you don't ask me to breach medical confidentiality. I can't say I had much contact with him. First time I saw him, he simply glanced over the installations, then shrugged it off. The rest of his time was spent with books and research. If I'm not mistaken, he left some of his notes in the classroom. He was an agreeable man. I remember having nice conversations with him about varieties of subjects. He was very curious about us. He was nice enough to treat me like a person, and sometimes like a lady. It's not that much the way he treated me that I found kind, but the intention behind it. On a more general observation, he seemed to want to make the best of his time here. Of course. I am programmed to treat a wide array of human traumas. Do you need treatment? Perfect. Is this about us in general, or about one of us specifically? Arthur is different. He is probably the one of us I can least relate to. He doesn't like to converse with us, and spends all his time compiling and organizing the data our master left him. Arthur, as far as his personality mind frame is concerned, is a total mystery to us. We don't even know why our master gave him one. There is one thing that struck me, though. Our master sometimes called him Johnson by mistake. You're correct. Our master told us there was a reason why he programmed Arthur this way, but never bothered to tell us. Yes, his memory should contain every book in the library by now. If anything should happen to them, Arthur would be able to print replacements. He is also in charge of monitoring our maintenance vaults and dealing with the vault's technical functions. Yes, there is a simple trick. He only answers open-ended questions. Yes? I assure you there is nothing much to know about me. I examine, I treat, I stitch. When I'm not, I try to develop my psychoanalytical skills, which is quite difficult. It's frustrating, having all this theoretical knowledge of human psyche without any personal experience of human feelings and internal conflicts. It's like having a blindfold, preventing me from seeing something I've been touching for decades. What does that have to do with any... Oh! Okay, that's funny. Okay. Point taken. I treated quite my share of traumas during the last decades. Most of the time, our guests arrive in need of medical attention. Do you wish to talk about something else? Ah, James. Isn't he a sweet fellow? He couldn't resist, could he? I told him this would make our guests uneasy. Shortly put, he is programmed to ask all kinds of questions, to be curious of the outside world and people. Because of this, our master decided he would be the first to talk to new guests. He's the one managing this vault's relation with the outside. For some matters, yes, even if we all have our field of authority. As for the library, since we have limited resources to ensure its perpetuation, he is the one to make long-term decisions. We are all programmed to try and understand what we can't grasp. For us, intuitive concepts like dreams, sensations, or feelings are elusive. There's a chasm between humans and us. And despite the odds, we have to work every day to find a way to cross it. That's how we are made. We are constantly chasing concepts that escape us. Yes? Roland. What of him? Please keep in mind that whatever you tell him, he will use it at the first occasion to irritate you. He's both clever and persistent. That said, I remember 2 people that managed to avert his vigorous badgering. As time went by, our master seemed more and more amused by Roland's provocations. In the end, every time Roland tried to taunt our master, he shrugged it off with a laugh. As for the other one, it was our first guest, Piper. Strong character. Piper had seen many things and lived a whole lot of experiences outside. Survived the Holocaust too. And they are? A little bit, yes. Our master needed to stay focused. Even if we each provided a form of stimulation, we were more or less yes men to him. He needed something to push him out of his boundaries from time to time. So to keep his fighting spirit alive, he programmed Roland. And as for why he allowed Roland to be offensive to our guests, I suppose he thought that it was critical for our guests to have at least a modicum of patience or self-derision. I could tell you it gets better with time, but I would be lying. Yes? It's a special something. I'm glad you asked. As a matter of fact, it's a symbol. Can you guess what it is supposed to represent? That interpretation holds a lot of meaningful information. It's a very nice answer. I like it. But the fact that you chose this interpretation is what's important. And that's precisely what the dino is for me. A way of knowing our guests. I am a machine. I will never understand symbols or interpret their meanings on my own. But I know humans can. But surely you're not just here to talk about our plastic friend. How can I help you? Anytime.